We're here because you want some big legs, of course you do, don't we all? We're gonna be doing a 1-set hack squat and very low volume, high frequency leg day today, showing you guys exactly how I do everything. So the main way we're starting this here is by warming up on this hack squat. This is a Nautilus one, fantastic option. I'm banding it as well so that it's slightly less sticky or difficult in the very bottom or stretched position. So if you notice here, I have 2 plates in 25. This is slightly increasing the amount of weight I'm able to use because I'm not getting stuck at the bottom when my legs are actually folded over. The quads do benefit from stretch mediation being worked at length, but not as much as a lot of people think. So they benefit from it, but then those adaptations flatline and the quads are really more strong in the mid to lengthened position. So that's not something we're really gonna have to worry about. We really just wanna have a good quality set with tension throughout the entire range. We're putting this first so we get the most amount of CNS output from our central nervous system before our lift starts, so that for the entire session, we are getting one incredibly good high stimulus set of quads. Now, if I were putting this later, maybe I'd do a little bit more volume, but this one set of hack squat on this day is fantastic because I have my leg extension coming on my other leg day where we have stiff leg deadlift first, giving the hamstrings and adductor magnus a little bit more bias. So we're biasing the quads today by doing 1 set, but putting it first while our CNS is most fresh. So we're gonna do this 2 plates on a 35 pounds on each side, and we're gonna try to get that for about 7 or 8 reps, maybe 6, with 1 to 2 reps in the tank, and we'll see how that goes. So unfortunately, that did not record. As much as that sucks, we're gonna keep going. I got that for 5, but I upped it to 40, so it was 2 plates and 40, got that for 5, really nice control, and just executing the movement through a full range of motion, great intensity, 0 reps from reserve, so that was really good. Now we're moving on to my seated hamstring curl. We're gonna do this for 2 sets here, and I write down all my settings, so if you guys don't normally do this, I put the big wheel on 2 and the small wheel on 5, and the back pad, I think the back pad was also on 5 as well. So if you don't write these settings down, you guys are kind of messing with your progress because you're not actually making sure that the conditions are the same week to week. So when I do this machine here, I am making sure this is exactly the same as it was the last time I was here. And always do things like a yoga mat or whatever you can throw in to be a tad bit more comfortable is also going to be a really nice idea. So here, you'll see I'm gonna fold this up and do our warm-ups here, starting with 50 pounds or so. I'm gonna do that for just like 3 or so reps, just to feel things out. And again, we always wanna be as comfortable as humanly possible. Because if we're not comfortable, then how are we training hard? We're not. So I'm always doing this for 2 sets. And the way that my upper-lower split right now is structured is I'll hit, say, an upper day on Monday, then I'll do this lower day on Tuesday, then I'll rest Wednesday, come in for my upper B on Thursday, and then on Friday, I will hit the other leg day, the leg day B. So this leg day is the first one, and again, it's the quad biased one where we have 1 set of really, really good, hard banded hack squat at the beginning, working the quads, full range of motion, especially where they are strong in the mid to lengthen range. And then we are doing our 2 sets of seated hamstring here. The hamstrings cross the knee and the hip joint, so doing something like this where you are fixed at the hip is a very nice idea. And again, same thing, trying to just lock in comfortably as we can for these warm-ups. But again, you don't need that much volume for legs. People make up a bunch of horse shit and lies and say, oh, the quads respond to higher volume, this and that. None of that is true or means anything. Just remember that. So muscles generally do grow very similarly. Falling over here. Muscles generally grow the same way, with certain exceptions, certain changes in principles, like say the calves that benefit from stretch-mediated hypertrophy a lot more than say the triceps. But for the most part, when you are training, you want to make sure you are training relatively similarly for all muscles, because a muscle is a muscle, it grows the same way, the same processes are required to synthesize new muscle. So we're gonna get into our working set here. Once again, if you guys would like to apply for coaching, you can fill out the form in my description. Just check it out there, and I will get back to you within 24 to 48 hours. We're gonna do our last rep with the warm up here, 160, which is about 3/4 of our working weight. Oof, wow, okay. That feels so good, man, so comfy. So that feels really nice. Gonna do this for 2 sets before moving on to the rest of our lower body work. So we did this last time, 190 for 5, 2 to 3 RER with a yoga mat. So I just always like to stretch out and get nice and comfy before I start, and we should be good to go. Let's do our working set now. Okay. Okay. Oh. Oh. Ah. Ah. Oh. 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 One more. Ah. Ah. All right, that was 200 for 6. Might have had 1, maybe 2 full range of motion reps left in there, maybe, if we were very, very lucky. But we're gonna do a second set here, and then we're gonna keep moving on. And now we've moved on to an ab crunch. Gonna do this for 2 sets. And please train your abs, guys, especially on your lower days. They're so valuable to throw in, and they are getting worked in SLDL, hack squats, so it's not like they aren't already being used. Why not just target them directly as well? So we're gonna do 2 sets here of the ab crunch. Just a fantastic option, something very stable. Nautilus makes a good one. This Nautilus one's very good. It just takes a little getting used to and kind of getting familiar with it, but we're gonna do 2 working sets here, focus on taking our sternum and trying to fold it over our pelvis as best possible. And honestly, just progressively overloading a crunch like this is pretty much the only thing you need to work the entirety of your abs. You'd also bias your lower abs a little bit by doing some kind of a gar hammer or some kind of like a hanging leg raise where you're hanging up and raising your legs. So that's an option as well. So we're gonna do 2 working sets here in this high frequency format and hit it again on our next leg day. So last time we did 2 plates, and I think we got that for 4 reps with 1 rep in reserve. Now again, when you're doing this kind of stuff, you could always have room to tweak the form. So I'm not gonna sweat the amount of reps I get here. If I get the same, if I get 4 reps, I'm not worried about it, because again, we're always trying to improve our form and execution. Here we go. Okay, okay. Okay, that was also 4 for I think 1 in the tank. Again, improving our technique, improving our execution. So I'm not worried if we don't overload per se right now, because we will next time we come in. And we're still trying to feel this out since it's a relatively new machine for me to get the feel for it and progressively overload via improving our technique. You know, a lot of people kind of freak out when I tell them that this session is only 8 sets, and it's like, oh, how could you do that? That's insane, so low volume, whatever. And it's like, why? Like, what proof do we have that 8 sets is not totally sufficient for hitting your entire legs? I mean, truly, we're getting our compound hack squat at the beginning, our compound quad volume, mid to lengthen range loading, loading hip extension, being in hip extension, doing the hack squat, in the vastus lateralis, vastus medialis, all the very important parts of the quad fully stimulated at the very beginning with 1 very potent, very CNS-driven set at the very beginning. 2 sets of seated hamstring curl, which is just perfect because we're hitting all heads of the hamstring by working that in that length and range with the fixed hip as well. Then going to our ab crunch, working our abs in a very stable and efficient movement. And now we're moving to some calves. We're gonna do this unilaterally out of preference. But again, there's no reason why that is not a sufficient leg day. And then on my other leg day, we have, of course, my SLDL, my leg extension, and a couple other movements in there, but really keeping the abs and calves kind of where they are. And that's it. And that's really a full leg day. So doing our calves here, we're gonna do 1 leg at a time, 2 plates on each side, so 4 plates total here on this leg press. And we're gonna do 1 side at a time, focusing on the bottom portion. So here we go. I'm gonna go up, okay, and here we go. Focusing on stretch the bottom and up. Stretch, 2, 3, up, up. Oh, about 9 in the left. And again, you really shouldn't be able to talk while doing this. If you are able to talk, then you're probably not training your calves as deliberately or as difficult as you should be training them. And again, just because they're a small muscle doesn't mean you shouldn't be giving them a whole lot of love. So we're gonna do this each side for more motor unit recruitment on each side. Ideally, you wanna rest 2 to 3 minutes to each side. You don't have to do that all the time. You wanna just get in and get out, but it's very nice to put some unilateral work at the end of the lift, because at the end of the lift, again, your CNS will be most fatigued, so you will be able to recruit more motor units to the working side when you have less fibers to actually activate and use. So by doing this 1 calf at a time, you're able to give each side just a little bit more love. Think about it like a tricep extension, why you would do a tricep extension 1 side at a time. Same thing we're doing here at the end of the lift. So we're gonna wrap this up with 2 sets, do our cardio, and go home. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed, found it useful. Make sure to subscribe if you're new. Let me know what questions you have down below. Coaching application, all that stuff down below. Legion, supplements, creatine, whatever you might need, 20% off code MattG. They make some great stuff, so check them out down below as well. And I will see you guys on the next video.